It might come in a small rectangular can, but Spam has made a massive impact on global food culture. Over 8 billion cans have been sold since it first hit the market, which works out to nearly 3 cans every second. But what is Spam exactly? And why does this canned meat have such a loyal following across the US and around the world? The truth is, Spam is more than just a quirky food with a funny name. It's a product of innovation, wartime necessity, and surprising versatility. And behind that simple pop-top lid is a fascinating process that turns basic ingredients into one of the most recognizable foods on supermarket shelves. Let's rewind to where it all began. Spam was the brainchild of J. Hormel, who took over his father's meatpacking business, Hormel Foods. In the late 1920s, during a visit to a deli, he noticed large chunks of canned meat that required butchers to slice them before selling to customers. That sparked an idea. Why not make smaller portions of meat, pre-cooked and canned, that people could buy ready to eat? He envisioned a product that could skip the middleman and go straight to the home cook. It wasn't an overnight success. Hormel? 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 Only Hormel have a Millie Kiss has the luxurious texture that glides on smoothly and leaves a rich, long-lasting color. You'll see it, it's a Mel Nest Collide. EOCA 6HL Mel. ECCCH MLC CCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCCC sit kakea by it to see sit see leak kasen melix and ensk it die sit to pus it to the kit gets to click pub spent years perfecting the formula, but by 1937, Spam finally launched. The timing couldn't have been better. The country was emerging from the Great Depression and affordable. Long-lasting food was in high demand. Spam's key ingredient was pork shoulder, which had been considered a low-value cut because of how tough it was to prepare. But in canned form, it became the perfect solution to a problem: how to turn cheap meat into something convenient and tasty. With the help of advances in food preservation, including refrigeration and canning technology, Hormel was able to mass-produce Spam and ship it across the country. Then came World War II, and Spam's destiny changed forever. As American troops spread across Europe and the Pacific, Spam became a staple in military rations. More than 150 million pounds were shipped overseas, feeding soldiers who needed reliable, protein-rich food that didn't spoil. It was so common that it became a running joke among servicemen, but they found all kinds of creative uses for it. Some used the leftover grease to oil their guns or waterproof their boots. Others mixed it with rice, noodles, or vegetables. Early versions of recipes that would later become staples in places like Hawaii, Guam, and South Korea, where Spam remains wildly popular today. Back in the U.S., Spam's reputation as a reliable, shelf-stable meat kept growing. But what actually goes into making a can of Spam? Despite its reputation as a mystery meat, the recipe is surprisingly simple. There are just 6 ingredients: pork with ham, salt, water, potato starch, sugar, and sodium nitrite. That's it. The pork and ham are delivered fresh to Spam's 2 main production facilities in Austin, Minnesota, and Dubuque, Iowa. Machines separate the meat from the bone, then cut it into uniform pieces before it's ground into 8,000-pound batches. This meat mixture is then rapidly cooled to near-freezing temperatures to maintain its quality and prevent bacterial growth. From there, the ground meat enters sealed vacuum mixers. These high-tech machines remove all the air, which helps extend the product's shelf life and keep its texture consistent. Salt, sugar, potato starch, and sodium nitrite are added next. Each of these ingredients plays a critical role. Salt enhances flavor. Potato starch helps bind the meat together. Sugar balances the saltiness, and sodium nitrite acts as a preservative and color stabilizer. That pinkish color Spam is famous for. It's a result of a chemical reaction between the sodium nitrite and the proteins in the meat, totally safe and totally intentional. Once the ingredients are thoroughly mixed, the blend is inspected and passed through a metal detector to ensure no foreign objects have found their way into the batch. Then it's time for canning. The meat is funneled into rectangular steel cans, which are vacuum sealed to remove any remaining oxygen. This step is critical for keeping the meat shelf stable for months or even years. After sealing, the cans are sent through large-scale cookers where they are steam-cooked right inside the can. This not only cooks the meat thoroughly, but also helps it form that firm, sliceable consistency people associate with Spam. After cooking, the cans are rapidly cooled to lock in flavor and freshness. Labels are applied, and each can is stamped with a tracking code that allows Hormel to trace every can back to its production batch. Quality control is taken seriously at every step, with each production line requiring only a handful of highly trained workers to oversee the mostly automated process. That's one of the reasons Spam can be produced so efficiently and in such large quantities while keeping consistency from can to can. Even the name Spam has a bit of mystery behind it. It was chosen through a company-wide naming contest, and the winner received $100 for the idea. Many believe it's short for spiced ham, though Hormel has never officially confirmed that, adding a bit of playful intrigue to the brand. Regardless of its origin, the name stuck, and today it's instantly recognizable across multiple generations and cultures. So how did Spam go from war rations to breakfast favorite? Much of its post-war popularity is thanks to its versatility. In Hawaii, Spam musubi, a slice of grilled Spam on a block of rice wrapped in seaweeds, a beloved snack. In South Korea, it's often stir-fried with kimchi or added to army stew, a spicy soup that's as comforting as it is filling. Even in the mainland U.S., Spam has seen a resurgence, popping up in food trucks, fusion dishes, and even on high-end brunch menus. Its long shelf life and affordability have also made it a staple in pantries during economic downturns and natural disasters. Behind every can is a combination of history, practicality, and a little bit of Americana. Spam may seem like a relic from another era, but it continues to evolve with the times. Whether you love it fried on toast, diced into a rice bowl, or eaten straight from the can, yes, people do that. It remains a true icon of convenience food. And now that you know how it's made, you'll never look at that humble little can the same way again. Imagine a meat product so popular that it's eaten across the globe, featured in gift sets, honored at festivals, and even has its own museum. Welcome to the world of Spam, one of the most iconic canned foods in American history. Born out of wartime necessity and transformed into a culinary staple, Spam continues to surprise the world with its resilience, versatility, and cultural reach. From massive cooking systems that sterilize tens of thousands of cans per hour to island festivals dedicated entirely to it, the story of Spam is anything but ordinary. Whether you've grown up with it in your pantry or you're just curious about how it all works, here's everything you need to know about how Spam is made, why it's still loved, and how it's managed to stay relevant for over 8 decades. Once, Spam's signature meat mixture made from pork shoulder, ham, salt, water, sugar, and sodium nitrites blended and packed into cans. The real magic begins. The filled cans are sent directly into a giant hydrostatic cooker, an engineering marvel that can process up to 66,000 cans at a time. Here, the cans are both cooked and sterilized at high temperatures, a step that ensures the product is shelf-stable and free of harmful bacteria. It's not just cooked before sealing, it's cooked in the can. This method guarantees that Spam can last for years, even decades, without refrigeration. Hormel, Spam's producer, notes that a properly stored can of Spam can theoretically last indefinitely, though quality begins to decline after about 5 years past its best-by date. Once the cooking process is complete, the cans are rapidly cooled to prevent overcooking, then washed and labeled. After that, they're packaged and shipped to stores around the world. The scale of Spam's success is staggering. Hormel estimates that they sell roughly 3 cans every single second. Since it was first introduced back in 1937, over 8 billion cans of Spam have been sold, while much of the production once came from 2 locations, Fremont, Nebraska, and Austin. Minnesota Hormel sold the Nebraska plant in 2018. Still, for many years after, it continued supplying Spam to meet global demand. Spam's reach goes far beyond American dinner tables. In fact, some of its most enthusiastic fans live outside the continental U.S. in places like Hawaii and Guam. Spam holds a deep cultural significance. American troops introduced Spam to these islands during World War II, and ever since, it has remained a beloved ingredient in local dishes. In Guam, the average person eats a jaw-dropping 16 cans of Spam per year. Spam is so deeply woven into daily life there that the island hosts events and cooking contests centered around the product. Meanwhile, in Hawaii, locals consume about 7 million cans of Spam annually. A festival known as the Waikiki Spam Jam draws thousands of attendees every year, offering Spam-themed dishes, music, and performances that celebrate the canned meat's impact on Hawaiian food culture. The event is both quirky and delicious. Spam musubi, a sushi-like dish with Spam, rice, and seaweed, is especially popular among residents and tourists alike. But Hawaii and Guam aren't the only Spam-loving places in the world. In South Korea, Spam has evolved into something unexpectedly elegant. Introduced by American soldiers during the Korean War, Spam became a luxury item during times of food shortages and has since developed into a common holiday gift. Especially during the Lunar New Year, it's typical to see Spam gift sets wrapped in fancy packaging and presented to family members and business associates as a sign of respect and generosity. Far from being a cheap meat product, Spam in South Korea is considered thoughtful, even prestigious. Despite its global popularity, Spam hasn't escaped controversy. Health experts often point out that Spam is high in fat and sodium. One 12-ounce can contains about 16 grams of fat per serving and roughly 33% of the recommended daily salt intake. The sodium nitrite used in its preservation has also raised concerns, as processed meats have been linked in some studies to increased cancer risks. However, the FDA considers Spam safe to eat, and Hormel has responded to health-conscious consumers by offering low-fat and low-sodium versions. Like any processed food, moderation is key. While it's probably not ideal to eat Spam every day, it remains a convenient option for occasional meals, especially during emergencies or for camping and travel. What keeps Spam relevant in an age when consumers are turning toward organic and plant-based diets? A combination of nostalgia, affordability, and adaptability. Spam is budget-friendly, versatile in recipes, and carries emotional resonance for many Americans who grew up eating it. It also has continued to evolve with changing tastes. Hormel has introduced modern flavors like teriyaki, jalapeno, and even Portuguese sausage, keeping the product fresh for a younger, more adventurous audience. And when global crises like the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Spam flew off the shelves. Its long shelf life and versatility made it a go-to choice for people stocking up on non-perishables. And Hormel ensured that production kept up with the sudden spike in demand. Spam is more than just a food. It's a brand, a piece of history, and in some places, a symbol of identity. The fact that it continues to thrive in kitchens, restaurants, and festivals around the world shows just how well Hormel has managed to keep it relevant. From clever marketing to international expansion, Spam's story is a masterclass in brand resilience and smart product management. Few foods have achieved this kind of longevity while also becoming cultural icons in places thousands of miles from their origin. If you're ever passing through Austin, Minnesota, don't miss the Spam Museum. This quirky and delightful attraction takes visitors through Spam's history, production process, and global influence. It's packed with interactive exhibits, artifacts, and trivia that brings Spam's journey to life in a way that's both informative and entertaining. Whether you're a lifelong fan or just Spam curious, it's a fun way to appreciate how a humble canned meat became a global phenomenon. So now that you know how Spam is made, where it came from, and why it's still wildly popular, what's your favorite way to eat it? Are you team musubi, or do you like it fried with eggs? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell for more deep dives into the foods we all know, love, and maybe even take for granted. Spam might not be fancy, but its place in food history is as solid as the can it comes in.